Yeah, just hitting the road, going back home after having a nice time with a dear friend shooting at the range. So, nice and relaxed. I figured I'd shoot a video for you. Again, surplusfundsriches.net. Also, guys, if you would, like the video, like the channel, hit the notification bell, follow us, subscribe to the channel. Also, go to surplusfundsriches.net. And you can sign in there. You can go to the products page. You see an overview of all of our products, both overages, flipping, money retrieval of all kinds. I've been around the block for going on 20 years doing this. And I've been a licensed real estate agent since '93 in North Carolina. So we kind of know what we're doing. And what I get a lot of from folks is, hey, Sean, what other piece of advice could you give us about, I'm going to go into flipping property right now. And that's where we first started before we got into overages, and we still do quite a bit of flips. But I wanted to give you guys some advice, those of you guys out there that are considering going in or in it, and you're finding that you're getting your butt kicked, and you're making offers and it's just not working out over and over again. A couple things that are going to help you put deals together a lot better and get better deals on more profitable deals. Okay? I got my cheat sheet. So let's start with when you're getting them on the phone. First thing you want to talk about, we go after pre-auction property. Pre-tax and pre-mortgage and pre-HOA foreclosures. First thing you want to ask them is, it's about the house on this. It's on this address. It's at this address. Yeah, I know it's coming up for auction on whatever, October 16th. Would you consider selling that property to me? And if they say yes, if they say absolutely not, that's fine. If they do say, and I'm not about arguing with people if they're about to lose their house. It's a matter of public record. I know the lists that are used when folks turn in deals to us, prospective deals to us. I know those lists are right. So when somebody says, no, it's not going to foreclosure, I go, hey, listen, you better call your county. This is the case number. Give them a ring. I'm not going to just go, okay, I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to go into a deal I'm currently working on right now that's interesting. But first thing after I ask them if they're willing to sell, obviously, because, if they're not willing to sell or if they're going to redeem the property and pay off whatever's owed and all that, or if they have kind of an exit strategy already, or if it's already under contract, I want to be done and on to the next call. Okay? Obviously, I have case managers that work for me. They want to be on to the next call. But still, that's what you want to do. The second thing is, are you in the house? Ask them if they're living in a house. A lot of times they're not. Particularly in tax sales, a lot of times they inherited that property and it's been sitting vacant for years, which I'm about to get to. But ask them if they're in it, because here's the kicker. And we're coming out with a new program that's going to blow your mind, by the way, with flipping, where all you got to do is pay off taxes and let them live there a while. But here's what I'll do if they're in the house. You're in the house, okay. How long would it take you to get out? Now, whatever they tell you, it's always 2 weeks, okay? Whatever they tell you, double it and say, I understand that. So I tell you what, you're saying you need 2 weeks. Things come up. Stuff happens. Let's make it a month. Or if they need a month to get out, listen, I understand. The most I'll go, guys, typically, unless it's a crazy screaming deal, is I'll let them stay for 2 months. And then I'll negotiate price, and I will circle back and let them know, this is important. Listen to me. They weren't afraid of the county foreclosing. They weren't afraid of the mortgage company foreclosing. Or at least they couldn't make it happen. So they're not afraid of you. They're not. They're not afraid. They don't care what they sign. They're in crisis mode. They're not getting out. So what I do is I give them incentive to get out. If I agree to pay this guy $40,000 and then pay off the taxes to stop the foreclosure and let him stay there for 2 months, which that's a pretty typical deal. If I was to do that, pay off the taxes, give him $40,000, the way I'd split that 40 up is he's getting 5 now. After I record the deed, so I own it, then I will pay off the taxes to stop the tax sale, or the mortgage if I have to stop the mortgage. Whatever I need to pay off, after I've recorded the deed, I'll pay it off, because I don't want to pay off a property that I don't own. And they could sell that to somebody else. They could be talking to 3 different people, signing deeds to 3 people, and getting money up front. I'll give them the money, just like in a real estate closing, I'll give the money as soon as that deed is recorded, and then I'll immediately pay off the taxes with a mortgage foreclosure, make sure everything's good, and then I will send them their check. Usually it's a matter of 3 days. Seriously, it's a quick deal. But I'm going to give them, in that one instance, I give them 5 up front. I want them to have enough money to survive for the next month or two and have some money. They're not, and have some money to move, because they never factor that in. Their heads in the cloud. I was going to say something else, but their head isn't where it should be. Okay, so you've got to give them more time than they think. First of all, that's my experience. Secondly, you got to give them enough to get them through. Now, just so you know, when I give them 5, and then I'm going to give them 35, let's say at the back end, it could be as little as 5 total, by the way. And I'll pay them all of whatever we reach up front if there's nobody in there. Okay? But if they're in there, I'll give them some of it up front, the rest later. Just be prepared that at the last minute, they may go, I blew all that money, Sean. This is what they tell me. I blew all that money. I don't have enough money for the truck. I'll wire you another $1,000. When I do, you just need to understand that that comes off that. Now, here's my other thing. That other 35, Mr. Johnson, here's how that's going to work. You're supposed to be out September the 18th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. If you are not, for every day or portion thereof, if it's a minute, if you are late, it's $2,000 less per day. Period. I don't care what's going on. And it's got to be in same or similar condition as it is now. And I don't expect you to clean it up or anything else. Just don't leave a bunch of crap in the house. Take it with you. Or put it at the curb. Whatever. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. I'm going to send either my realtor or a mobile notary to check on that property the time you're supposed to get out. If you're out, I'm going to wire you the money. If you can't take a wire, I'll send you an overnight certified bank check so you can cash it fast. It's on Fifth Third. That's where I can do business with. It's on Fifth Third, so you can probably cash that darn near anywhere if you don't have a bank. No problem. Now, the other side of that is, okay, if you're not living there, you got to ask the follow-up question. Okay, is anybody else? If they are, then you go, all right, do they have a lease? And what are they paying? And have they paid on time? Now, it is very rare that I will take where there's a renter in the property. They've got to be gone too. I just don't want to mess with it, guys. And right now, it's the flippers that are really buying from me. It's really not the guys that are buy and hold. So I want everybody out of the damn house. Okay? I want them out of the house. Especially now when there's this eviction moratorium. I don't want to screw with that. It's up to the owner to get them out. Yeah. And if it's a renter, I'm probably going to want the renter gone before I send the first payment. Okay. Now, if it's vacant, okay, nobody's living there, it's vacant, I ask them how long it's vacant. Whatever they tell you, double. They're lying. It's been longer than that. Or they may count the fact that they left a TV in there for 6 months, so that wasn't vacant. Okay? I don't know what it is. It's human behavior. It's what they do. They lie about the length of time it's been vacant. Now, I will ask them for pictures. At this point, what we started doing, we asked them for pictures of all the rooms and the front and the back of the house and a street shot, if they're there, or if they have a friend that's there. If they don't, we need a way to get in, and I'm going to send a mobile notary. Now, what I'm not telling them is, if they're in the house, I'm going to have the mobile notary take a bunch of pictures, and I'll tell them this at the last minute, while they're in there getting the deed signed. However, if they're in a different state or whatever, I'm going to arrange to have a mobile notary go out, even if they send me pics. Sending me pictures just gives me a reference point on my offer. I'm still going to send a mobile notary out, or have one of my realtors, if I've been doing business in that area, run by and check it out prior to actually sending that check. Okay? And let me clue you into something, guys. Good story, bad story. Just because somebody's living there doesn't mean it's livable. Doesn't mean it's in good shape. I had one. I still have it. Bought it years and years ago. Never could sell it. With the mobile notary went out and took pictures. Just happened to mention it. It didn't click in my head. Boy, the place just smelled horribly of Febreze. Maybe there were smokers or something. Okay. Bought it. Got them out. Bought it. Went to put it on the market. The realtor calls me and says, hey, there's a hole in the living room and it looks like they've been pooping through it into the crawl space for the past 10 years. No kidding. I still have that house. Can't get rid of that house. Also, though, talking about really rough properties, never ever buy one that's had a meth lab in it, or any kind of a lab for cooking any kind of drugs. Don't do it. Just don't do it. It's not worth it, okay? And you can't make the place right without tearing it down and disposing of all of the stuff. Just don't buy it. I'm not buying a meth lab. Okay, next question is, before I get into dollar, I ask them, what is it worth? What is it worth in its current condition? Now, the reason I do that is they may say, you know what, it's worth 20 grand. And I'm thinking, looking at the paper and looking at all the difference between what I can sell to an investor, oh my God, I was willing to pay 30. All right, well, let's get those pictures and I'll take a look at it. I might be able to do that. Oh my God, ask them to throw the number out first. Because some of the people are savvy and they're going to go, I'm not going to do that first. And you go, I understand that and I respect that. However, without seeing it, without seeing pictures and without knowing what I'm getting into, I'm going to lowball the heck out of you and make you mad because I have to assume that it's fallen into the ground. And I'll make them a super low offer. And they'll go, no, trust me, it's worth more. But at least now I've set the bar down low, okay? Now I'll say, well, if you can get me pictures or if I can get a guy in there to get pictures for me, I'll make you my best offer. How's that sound? And they'll let me in. Once you decide what you're willing to offer the property for, of course you need to talk to a real estate agent if you can. Pull up. Right now the online values are pretty close, but keep in mind the vast majority of those are after it's been fixed up. You need to factor out the fact that if you're going to flip it to a flipper, you need to build in profit for them, profit for you, and what you think the cost will be to repair it. And always take about 120 to 150% of what you think repair costs are going to be, because it's always going to be more than you think, and because contractors have gone up huge right now. I'm trying to make this a short video, guys, but I got too much to cover. So when you finally make the offer, you go, look, I'm in it for this much. In other words, hey, Mr. Johnson, I'm in it for 25. I could give you 25 grand and pay off the taxes to stop the sale, or whatever it is. Pay off the taxes to stop the sale. Are you good with that? And remember, if they're in it, I'm not giving them that up front. I'm not talking about that yet. Yeah, I can do that. Great. What I'm going to do is send you a quick claim deed. Okay? I'm going to double check title real quick, but I'm going to send you a quick claim deed with a mobile notary. They can meet you wherever the heck you want. Yeah, in some states I need to get a witness, someone else that's not party to it. And usually the mobile notary can be a witness as well as someone else. But I'm going to tell them that's what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to get the deed back, and you're also going to get a contract from me that's binding for me, telling you what we've discussed today. And then I'm going to record the deed. As soon as I record the deed, then I can pay off the taxes. I can't do it beforehand because then I'm not going to pay it off if I don't own the property. This is just like a real estate closing. Okay? They'll understand that. And then I'll record that, then I'll pay off the taxes, then I'll send you a check. Usually 3 days, maybe 5 business days, max. That's how quick I'm going to move on this. And they love it. Now I go, now listen, we talked about you're in the house, you want to stay there for 2 months, and we talked about 30 grand. Let's say, right? I'll give you 5 grand after I record that deed and pay off those taxes. I'll give you the other 25 when you're out, because honestly, I'm having a problem with squatters and people not wanting to leave. So I'll give you the rest when you're out. 5 o'clock, you and I, how much time you need? You need a month? I'm going to give you 2. You need 2 weeks? I'm going to give you a month. Whatever it is, I'll usually double it up to 2 months. Okay? Let's say if you're out earlier, great. I may even give you something extra if you're out earlier. But the bottom line is, I need you out as quick as possible. You said you could get out. I asked them, how long do you need? Oh, I need 2 weeks. Is what they usually say. I'm going to give you 4. Now, that 25 grand at the back end that I'm paying you, for every day you're late, it's 2 grand less. I'm not playing. I can't do it because I just can't do it. I have to build in. I have to assume you're not going to get into the house. No offense to you. That's some running the business. Okay? The other part, though, is if you can't come together, walk away. And let them, don't do an ultimatum. Don't do this chest-thumping bull crap. Okay? Just go, tell you what. It's set. The auction is set for 1 month from today. I need a week minimum to make this happen. If it's on a Friday, I need a week and a day. Because I need to send out a mobile notary, get it signed, get them I'm going to send them a label to overnight. I explained this the process. Send them a label, the mobile notary label, to overnight it back to me. Then I'm going to overnight it to the county, that quitclaim deed to the county. Then I'm going to have to wait a day to see that it's recorded, and I'm the first in line. And you haven't sold it to somebody else. No offense. Once it's recorded, then I'm going to send out the payment. So now we're at day 3 to the tax person. As soon as they tell me it's good, I can either overnight you a bank check that you can cash anywhere, or I can wire it to you, whatever you want. I don't want your wiring instructions till ready to go. I just don't, guys. So I'll do that. Now, if you can't come to it, you go, like I said, I need a week beforehand. That's it. If you come to me later than that, probably not going to be able to make a deal. I appreciate you talking to me today. Stick my number in the back of your brain there. Put it up on your fridge, whatever, and let me know if you change your mind. I appreciate your time today. Then I sent him a takeaway letter. Basically goes through, talk to you about selling your house. You wanted this much. I said I could pay that much. If you change your mind, I need a week. Here's my phone number. Thank you again for talking to me. I won't bug you again. That's it. Because, guys, especially if you're about 3 weeks out, the people that were going to redeem the property, meaning pay off the taxes if it's a tax deal, or pay off whatever this is owed to stop the foreclosure, the people that were going to do that have pretty much done it when you hit about 3 weeks out. So now you're dealing with people that think that they're going to hit the lotto at the convenience store and come up with the money. They're disillusioned, okay? And part of that, by the way, sometimes they'll say that to me. They'll go, I think my family's going to come up with it, and I'll go, you don't know how many times I've heard that. I completely understand you want to stay there. I completely understand. I can't. I'm just telling you, I can't do more than that. And I'm just telling you, you need to make sure you're going to have the money in time. Give me, if you hit a week and you haven't redeemed it, haven't paid off whatever's owed, if you hit a week, give me a call. I cannot tell you how many people call me with 3 days left, and their only option at this point is to live in their car. So please, don't put it off too long. The other thing you're going to hear, and I know I'm going back and forth, is they'll go, well, it was my wife or my husband or whatever that was supposed to be paying the taxes, and and I got the house, but part of our agreement was this, and they screwed me, and they weren't paying the mortgage, or they weren't paying the taxes, they weren't there, and then this happened, and by the way, they were mean to me, and look, I said, look, I'm so sorry you went through that. I personally, myself, I can say this because it's the truth. I went through a divorce as well. It's always an emotional roller coaster, regardless if it's for the best or not. Bottom line, and I'm sorry if I'm going to offend somebody with this. Usually it's a woman that brings this up about the man not paying. And there's a lot of deadbeat dudes out there. So they'll bring it up, and I have to go, look, I completely understand where you're coming from. I can no longer have this conversation with you about your divorce and about your ex. I get that you're angry. I get all that. You need to come to the table, and if not to me, sell it to somebody else. If you don't have the money to make this right, sell it to somebody and make something off the property, so you're not making zero money, and or if they're in the house living in the car instead. You need to do that. And I got to tell you guys, people call me all the time and go, man, after the deal's done, I just want to say, you were the first guy that had the guts to tell me the truth and to be honest with me, and you jarred me into reality, and I want to thank you for that. And I've had people call me if they sold to somebody else. Maybe somebody gave them a little more money, maybe they gave them the same money, but they just felt like going with the other person. They're going, I've still got calls back from them going, thank you so much, you're the one that made me see the light. Seriously, okay? Also remember, time is on your side. I don't chase them. I sent out that takeaway letter. I don't chase them. I'm not calling them back. If they're saying they're done, I am not calling them back. It's a sign of weakness, and they're going to pound you and try to get more money. Now, I'm going to give you another side of this. I know a lot of friends that do this. I have a lot of friends that flip property, and a lot of them talk about the chop, where at the last minute they're going to go to the owner and go, look, I didn't realize it was this much. I'm sorry, but instead of this, it's going to be that. That's what I can give you. I don't do that. I don't do the chop. Now, I'll walk away from a deal before I make that first payment. If something comes up that I didn't know about, I'll completely walk away and go, I'm sorry, I'm out. I'm going to deed it back to you. Have a nice day. But I am not going to try to chop them and make that part of my normal operating procedure. I think that's wrong. Okay? All right. I would definitely use a mobile notary. Don't send them the documents to sign. I try to avoid using attorneys if I can, just because I don't feel like the need in most cases. Sorry. Usually there's an attorney if somebody buys it from me, but as far as me buying it from the owner, we do good title work. I know what I'm doing, so I'm not worried about it. But always use a notary. Don't send it out to them and have them get it notarized at FedEx, guys. Just use them. Spend an extra $100 because it's going to make them sign. There's a sense of urgency when a mobile notary's meeting them. Insure it. Okay, once you buy it, I don't care if it's a piece of crap falling in the dirt. We do a lot of those. Insure it. If you don't have a good one, I think there's a company called Goosehead Insurance out of Charlotte, North Carolina, or close to Charlotte. I'd give them a call. They'll insure uninhabited stuff, and they'll insure stuff that's just falling down into the ground. Tell them the truth about it. Send them pictures if they want, but they'll insure it for you. You want to insure it at least for what you got in it, right? And guys, it's cheap as hell to insure cheap. It's $150 for a couple of months. It's just so worth it. If the thing burns to the ground, you might have nothing versus you got 30, 40 grand, whatever. Okay. The other thing that I do, and I've had people actually try to call me out on this. Usually you pay tax stamps when you record the deed. And it's based on what you bought it for. When I come up with that number and I'm recording the deed, I'll overnight it to the court to record it. I'll call them first. I'll look at online to make sure I've got everything they need. I'll look at the pricing online. I'll call them first before I send it to double check the costs. Because I've seen stuff wrong online with the county before. I'll write a letter detailing what each cost covers, because usually you have to pay tax stamps as well as recording fees. And I'll say, I talked to this person and this is how much it is. Here's the check. I can use a business check. If you don't have a business check, you're probably going to have to use a bank check. I pay the stamps. This is very important. Everything's very important. I pay the stamps, the revenue stamps or tax stamps, based on the worst case total I'm going to have in it. In other words, what if I have to get a clean out crew out there, right? And that's going to be $1,500 because they're hoarders. What if I'm going to have to do this? What if I'm going to have to do that? So if I'm actually paying off $5,000 in taxes and I'm paying the owner $25,000, but I might have another $5,000 in other fees, I'll tell them I want to pay tax stamps on $35,000. Now let me tell you why I do that. A lot of investors out there are really savvy, and they're going to come behind you, or they're going to look at it when you list it. And I list it. I'll use either a realtor, or if it's an area I'm comfortable in values and all that, I will use like an online real estate where it's put in the MLS. I definitely want it in the MLS. That maximizes my potential. But there's some guys that are fee-based, where all you're paying is the buyer agent and $300 to this agent to list it for you. And I'll do one or the other. But you want to record. I want to back up a second. You want to, when you pay your tax stamps, record it based on what your worst case would be, because a lot of these investors are going to look at that and go, he paid $100 in tax stamps. It's $2 per thousand. He paid $50,000 for this property. I'm going to offer him $65,000. They're going to do it. They're going to backward engineer it. So I would rather he think that I paid more than I did, than I actually have in it. It helps you. Believe me, it's a really good trick, really good nugget. Again, use a realtor, or at least a fee-based realtor that can do comps for you, comparative market analysis. Use even pricing. I've covered this in another thing. Don't get funky, 147, 943, whatever. Use even pricing, and look at on Zillow, Realtor.com, and some other sites. They have ranges. I'm looking for between 150 and 250. I'm looking for between 250 and 4, whatever. They have these ranges built in. See what the range is and be at the range. In other words, if you think it's worth 145 to 150 and everyone's hitting 150 as this top end, and then it goes from 150 to 250, by being at 150, I'm at the top end of the guys looking up to 150, and I'm at the bottom end of the guys looking from 150 to 250, right? So I'm getting a double hit there. There's some real good value there. The other thing I tend to do, though, is whenever possible, I'll actually list it in a market like this, 2021. This is August 2021. In a market like this, I will list it for slightly less than what I think it'll sell for, because it's going to get a lot more interest. And every time I've done that, it has sold for more money than I asked. That's in a super hot market. When you're not in a hot market, build in the extra room you need and let them come back and win. But in a super hot market like this, I typically go under a little bit, and I've actually got more than I thought I was going to by doing that. I hope this has helped you guys. Do me a favor. Do me a solid here. If you like the information, if you got one pearl of wisdom out of this, I've been doing this for a long time, guys, going on 20 years. If you got anything out of it, shoot me a comment. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. Like the video if you would. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel. You get a lot of videos like this. I do a lot of intense content, okay? And you can also check us out. We do overages and deed flips at surplusfundsriches.net. We flip property and we do overage recovery, both tax and mortgage overages. Surplusfundsriches.net. Hey, thanks again, guys. Have a great day.